Now, I love all types of guns, from World War One to World War II, up to modern day and everything in between. But I believe that there are 7 best guns that you should invest in first. And these all serve a really practical purpose for one reason or another. And that's what I'll cover today. And hopefully this will help you out if you're just now getting started, or maybe you're trying to condense down to just, 7 or 8 guns that you can keep that will serve a purpose. And this, of course, is just my opinion, but I want to hear yours after the video. What do you think are the 7 best guns that somebody can have? If they're the only guns they can have, or maybe the first guns they should buy, let me know down below. And if you like what I do, consider subscribing. Let's go and get into it. Now, the first gun I want to start with is a pistol, but not just any pistol, a 9mm full-size pistol. Now, you may be thinking, well, I want to carry my first gun and a full size is just too much, but having a first gun as a full size and a 9mm is going to provide you a lot of things that are very beneficial to get started. First of all, the recoil mitigation, the felt recoil, the muzzle rise, all of that is going to be really easy to control in 9mm. Now, of course, there are basics to learn with every single gun, but this platform is going to make it a lot easier. Your smaller carry guns and stuff actually have more felt recoil, and hence that's going to be harder for you to learn and harder for you to shoot. And God forbid you actually want to teach somebody on that, it's going to be harder for them to learn as well. Trust me, I tried this. That's what I started with, was a smaller subcompact gun, and it took a lot longer for me to learn how to shoot and learn the proper techniques that way. Now, that doesn't apply for everybody, but I will say that a full-size 9mm handgun is going to do the job. Now, I really love the M&P series, especially the newer ones with the flat face trigger. Most manufacturers are going to provide a slide that is already cut out for an optic, and so this is really nice because this allows you to focus on the dot instead of trying to line up iron sights. While I believe everybody should learn how to shoot iron sights, this makes the transition to shooting a handgun, I think, much easier. You also get a full-size grip. Most modern handguns, polymer frame striker fire guns, are going to offer back straps so you can adjust to your hand size, and just an overall comfortable gun. And practically speaking, this is one that, eventually you could outside the waistband carry. You could use it for home defense. You could teach somebody on it. You could have it as a truck gun. So the protection wise, this is going to be a good platform and something really good to learn on. The next gun that is one of the more practical guns that you can actually buy is an AR. Now, I would say specifically ones that are chambered in 5.56, 223, because again, these provide you a really soft, minimal recoil and something you can learn to shoot a rifle on and not be super intimidated by it. Not only that, it provides you a platform in which you can build upon. So a lot of ARs, you can actually put like 22 conversion kits in these things. Multiple calibers, different accessories and stuff that you can put on here, because pretty much every manufacturer makes some kind of AR and they make accessories for them. So if this is something that you want to learn on and you want to start accessorizing, they are fairly cheap to do that. At least the barrier to entry can be cheap. I always kind of recommend like a mid-grade AR. So some of your more prominent manufacturers out there, this one's actually a Smith & Wesson. And so it's nothing too fancy. It's not like $2,000 or anything like that. Now, those rifles do have a lot of benefits when, typically when you get up in cost, you'll see something like a CZ Brand 2, whereas that gun is like super smooth. It's become my new obsession actually since I borrowed one for a review. But regardless, the AR-15 is such a good starter platform, something that you can teach somebody on, teach them about gun safety, teach them how to shoot at the rifle range, and not super intimidating, plus a platform that you can grow into and change this into pretty much anything you want. Super low recoiling, and the controls are fairly intuitive for anybody to learn, especially here in America. It's just overall America's rifle for a reason, and it is a great place to start when it comes to a rifle in general. So I have a really bad problem of whoring out my optics, so I'll take it, I'll put it on this gun, and then when I get ready to review something else, I'll put it on another gun, sight it in for that gun. Well, anyways, that's why you're looking at a bare naked shotgun. This is my latest project right here, getting this thing set up for home defense. But it is something that you should absolutely own, is some kind of shotgun. Now, it's all dependent upon what you want it for, right? Me, I'm thinking home defense. I'm thinking something practical that I could even use as some kind of a truck gun. And a shotgun really is the ultimate home defense weapon, especially when you have a bullpup style like this M&P12. It holds a lot of rounds, and that's because of two tubes that ride underneath the barrel. Of course, it is pump action, just like that. Picatinny rail on the top. It actually does have a loaded chamber indicator here in the rear, and overall a really nice shotgun. KSG shotgun would fit in this role really well too. Some of the Benellis and the M4s and stuff that they have would be a really good option. That's another one that I really want to get my hands on. But shotguns are something that I have kind of been looking forward to. You guys notice more rifle reviews from me, and more shotgun work is something that I want to do as well. And so I believe that a shotgun is definitely, in this order, should be like the third or fourth gun that you can actually buy, because again, it's something that you can use to take game. You have a variety of different loads, so anything from birdshot to buckshot to slugs that you can run in this. It is one of the most versatile weapons that you can actually own. When it comes to home defense, though, there is really no better option than double-aught buck and a shotgun just like the M&P12. 22s come in a wide variety of different flavors, but overall, a 22 long rifle specifically is one you should definitely own. Again, when it comes to training tool, when it comes to taking small game, is there really any better option than a 22? Now, of course, shotgun with birdshot will work as well, but this is something, so useful. Not this one specifically. This one is more for tactical use and actually training people on, but at the same time, a 10-22 from Ruger, Smith & Wesson 22 in the AR platform. You even have an MP5 22 from H&K. Everybody makes a good 22, and 22 rifles specifically I think are the best option, but even a pistol like this is going to provide a bunch of different uses, and it's definitely one of the first guns that you should buy. Next gun I want to talk about is a steel frame gun of some kind, okay? This can include 1911s, this can include CZ Shadow 2, this can include P226, P229, but something that is double to single action. Now, this kind of goes outside of the norm of what people promote today, even including myself. I think striker fire guns are, some of the best that you can actually buy. That was the first gun that I showed you, and I think that should be your first 9mm pistol. But at some point in one of your first 7 guns, some kind of steel frame double to single action or single action only is definitely one you should own. You have not felt a good trigger until you feel a good tuned 1911 trigger, even a CZ Shadow tuned trigger. These guns provide the least amount of felt recoil. They are the easiest to shoot, and they are some of the best shooters as far as pistol go on the planet. Even like your Beretta M9A3 or the A4, CZ Shadow 2, 1911s, the P226, the P229. These are all fantastic pistols, and I've grown to really love these things over the years. And again, there's just no replacing a good single action trigger. Now, the double action, on the other hand, takes a little bit of getting used to, but there's a reason I say double to single action would be my preferred option if I were to go back and buy my first 7 guns, and that's because once you learn to shoot that double action, now you can pretty much shoot anything. You can take your revolvers and shoot those. Striker fire guns are pretty much going to be a breeze. Single action on this gun, you're going to learn to love it, especially once you learn the double action. But I'm telling you, man, if you get a nice steel frame, double to single action gun, you may not even want to go back to anything else because they really are that smooth. Double to single action also allows you to safely drop the hammer. At least most of them have a decocker of some sort, so you can drop that hammer safely, carry it just like this, and when you're ready to pull it out, you pull that trigger. First one's going to be double action. The subsequent shots are going to be that nice single action. And again, because you have a little bit more weight, it's going to keep the muzzle down on these guns. And they're some of the best shooting pistols out there. Check out my CZ Shadow 2 video or my Beretta M9A3 video if you don't believe me. Next gun I want to talk about is your first carry gun. This is going to be a super important gun for you and your family because it's the one you're going to have with you more than any other gun out there. And so choosing the right gun, the right holster, the right gun belt, I can help all of you out with that stuff, at least give you my opinion on that. Choosing the right gun takes a little bit more time, but you know, there's guns I recommend most of the time, like the Shield Plus or the P365. These seem to fit people really well for the most part. But it's also the gun that you want to get the most acclimated with. So my ideal situation for a new shooter is, you know, because a lot of states will allow you to take a .22 pistol to get qualified for concealed carry weapons training. But then once you get your permit, you can carry, you know, any 9mm or any pistol really. And so in between that time of you waiting for your permit, you're learning how to shoot on your full-size 9mm pistol. You're learning to shoot your AR. You're learning to shoot your full-size steel frame double to single action. And then once you go to something like this, it's going to be a really easy transition because now all you have to expect is a little bit more recoil because it is a smaller profile and it does have less weight. Guns like the Spectra Comp right here have actually found ways to mitigate that a little bit. There's no way to really get around physics, but they found a pretty good way with that integrated comp. Shield Plus. All of these carry guns come optics ready, so you can put your dot on there, so the familiarity between your full-size guns and your carry guns is there as well. So once you get used to that recoil, this is your baby. This is the one you want to be your best shot with because this is the one that can potentially save your life and that you're going to have with you all the time. So a good carry gun, something from a quality manufacturer. I've done a lot of these reviews on the channel. This is going to be one of the most important guns you buy as your first 7. Now, this next one I'm going to use the SCAR in its place because I just really love this gun, but it doesn't have to be a SCAR, but any kind of .308 rifle. Really any full powder cartridge. You know, you got the 5.56, you got 7.62x39, great intermediate cartridges, but if you want to really reach out there, .308 is a great place to start. As opposed to some of the other calibers out there like 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 Win Mag and all that, this one actually is economical in the world of full powder cartridges, and it provides a lot of practical use. You know, this is a gun you can do work with, you know, inside of 200 yards, but also stretch it out to 1,000 yards. So if you want to do competition shooting, if you want to go hunting, of course there's limitations with magazines and all that, you'll have to check your state for that. Or if you just want to go to the range, do 500, 600, 700 yards, you can absolutely do that with a good .308 rifle. Now, typically any of your AR-10s and rifles just like this, they're going to be bigger, they're going to be heavier, but that is just kind of comes with the territory because you have that full powder cartridge. So you're going to have bigger profile barrels, bigger gas blocks on them, heavier bolts and all of that. But at the end of the day, having a good .308 rifle is crucial to your inventory. Now you may say, well, I live in the middle of a city. I'm never going to use anything like that. And in that case, that may be fair. You know, instead of buying a 5.56 rifle and a .308, well, maybe you want a 5.56 and a 7.62x39. I try to stick with the more common calibers just because they're easier to get. They're also cheaper to shoot. But at the same time, there may be some people out there that don't necessarily need a .308. But I would say for a good majority of the people out there, this is going to be a rifle that you can do a lot with. You're going to be able to take big game. You're going to be able to reach out there and actually hit shots on target. And not only hit shots on target, but be effective at ranges at 400 and 500 yards and beyond. Now, of course, what comes with this territory is a good piece of glass. I promise you this is something that you're going to want to invest in because it's going to make long-range shooting just so much better. But overall, having a .308 is, to me, is the perfect full power cartridge out there. The last gun we'll talk about is some kind of bullpup rifle. Now you may be thinking, why do I need this if I have an AR? That's a good question. Well, this is going to provide you the same muzzle velocity, same size barrel in a lot of cases as your ARs. So same practical use, but an overall really short length. And in my opinion, it provides you a better gun for home defense because of that short length. But it's also a gun that you don't have to register or do anything with like you would a short barrel rifle. Now, if you want to go that route, sure, short barrel rifles are fantastic. You just got to go through the paperwork. Then there's limitations after you make it into an SBR, whereas a bullpup rifle will offer you all of the same benefits as a full-size AR, except you don't have to go through that stuff. Now, the battery of arms is going to be much different. So as opposed to a charging handle that's back here, it's got a charging handle that's on the side. The magazines are back here. The trigger pack, or the action, is back here. Of course, the trigger is where it's supposed to be. The magazine release on the X95 specifically is in a really familiar spot, and so is the safety. So it's one of the easier bullpups to actually learn. Plenty of Picatinny rail, backup sights with tritium inserts. You put a good piece of glass on this one too, with a little bit of magnification, 4x optic from Trijicon, an ACOG. Something like that would be perfect for this type of gun. You can run that with an RMR on top, and then there you go. You got close range and you can reach out at distance. And again, you have a gun that overall is about the length of an SBR, but has no limitations when it comes to actually SBR in your rifle. And if you can learn the battery of arms, having a bullpup is one of the most fantastic rifles that you can actually own. And I think one of the first 7 that you should buy. So that's my list, man. I had a reason that I chose the guns that I did because I think all of these serve a really good purpose as your first guns. But of course, I want to hear from y'all. What do you think the 7 best or 7 first guns that somebody should own are? Leave those down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. You can also join us on Patreon or join the channel right here and never have to leave YouTube. Big thanks to you guys. See you in the next one. And as always, hold them down.